Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm so happy that you're here. This podcast is a place for conversations about balancing a healthy lifestyle and being happy. More specifically, happy hour. Together, we'll explore all things wellness and wine. I hope you learn a little, laugh a lot, and along the way, know you're not alone on this balanced wellness journey. Ready to jump in? Pour something in your glass that makes you happy because it's time for Spandex and Wine. Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm excited to bring you Erin Barnett today. She is sure to inspire you and get you moving. She's a dancer, choreographer, producer, master teacher, and fitness coach, and also a native of Chicago, Illinois. She began her formal dance training at Mayfair Dance Academy at the age of 6 and has never looked back. Erin was exposed to every form of dance, but by age 9 decided to focus her attention to ballet. In 1987, Erin was selected to be the first African-American Clara in the Chicago Tribune Charities production of The Nutcracker. As much as she adored the technical challenges of classical ballet, she was equally exhilarated by jazz, tap, and cheerleading, winning several first-place Showstopper Awards, as well as first-place USCA Awards. The positive competition gave Erin the confidence she needed when competing for Miss District of Columbia. Continuing her academic studies as a dance major at Howard University opened the door to a world of modern dance. Upon graduation, Erin earned a position with Garth Fagan Dance, traveling and performing original works all around the world. Once you lay eyes on her, even when she's operating on the outskirts of the action, you can barely see anyone else on the stage. She enjoys sharing her experiences with young dancers and was very proud to have taught at the Debbie Allen Dance Academy while she was in Los Angeles. Today, you're going to hear how she traveled the world doing something that she loved and now gives back to young adults. I give you Erin Barnett. Well, hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. Erin, I'm so happy that you're here.
Me too. Thank you, Robin, for having me.
Oh my gosh, yes. I can't wait to have a conversation with you. So you own a successful dance studio. You've traveled the world doing what you love. You've been on tour with The Lion King and you've danced with Beyonce. You've written a children's book. I mean, come on, you've got a lot going on.
When you put it like that, it does seem like quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And with Spandex and Wine, it's so funny because people are like, oh, what is it about? Well, it's about anything wellness. It's about anything exercise. And I feel like dance totally fits into that category because of the physical aspect of it, but then mental as well. Like there's so much that you can get from dance. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Let's start with how you started.
Oh, wow. Once upon a time. Look.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, literally, growing up, I'm born and raised in Chicago. And I think watching the Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies, I was just infatuated. I saw her. I'm like, okay, she's doing everything that he's doing backwards and in heels and like so glamorous. I was like, sign me up. So early on, I just had this love for dance and then classical ballet as well. And so through the rigors of that kind of very disciplined training, I went to Howard University, majored in dance, and it just really kind of snowballed into this, I call it an enchanted career, because I don't know if this quite happens to everyone. Like I went from, a dance to New York and in Los Angeles, I met Debbie Allen and was teaching at her school for a while. And that literally came just from a conversation like, you went to Howard, I went to Howard, I need to teach. And she was like, you're teaching 2 classes tonight. I was like, does it have to be that easy?
That's awesome.
And when I reflect on things like that happening, and I'm like, it kind of does. It kind of is that easy if you are in alignment and, you're ready to receive. But I think, after LA, I came back to the East Coast, danced with Philadelphia, and then did Lion King in Las Vegas. There was a 3-year sit down at the Mandalay. So it was just, I was just like, wow. And within those companies, we were doing 6-week European tours and just really getting to travel and get some stamps on that passport. I just felt like I was in a dream, but it was really happening.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so with The Lion King, that's when you traveled the world, or you were just in Vegas with that show?
So twice. So this is
Okay.
how, the universe and dreams deferred kind of work. So I did 4 years or 3 or 4 years in Lion King in Las Vegas. That was an original company. And the show ended. I came back to Chicago, started teaching. This is where I created Black Girls Dance in 2015. And so I'm minding my beautiful Black business, 2022, and get an email. Can you hear me? Is it frozen for you?
Hey guys, it's Robin interrupting the episode to make sure you know about our wine club. No, you don't buy any wine from me, but I will tell you what type of wine to purchase so we can be ready for our monthly Zoom call where we connect, we talk wine, we share fitness tips, and so much more. Plus, you'll receive hidden episodes and a peek behind the scenes of Spandex and Wine. For just $9 a month, you'll be in. It's like a book club, but much cooler. You can visit spandexandwine.com for the link. All right, back to the episode.
Ended, moved back to Chicago, started teaching, at different studios, and created Black Girls Dance in 2015. And, years later, the pandemic has hit. I started my own, I parlayed Black Girls Dance into a full-on studio. 2022, minding my beautiful Black business, get an email from the casting director. And he's like, are you available ASAP through, this certain day? I was like, this is a joke, because certainly they know that, it's 11 years after I've done this show.
Yeah.
And within a week, I was on a plane and met them in, I think it was Arizona. I started the tour in Arizona. So now this is the Rafiki tour. So this is, you never think that it can happen again. And throughout the years, I would hear about different people. Oh, someone's going back and someone's, filling in for someone. And I was just like, oh, I had my time. It was wonderful. It was a dream. But to have this dream rebooted when I least expected, because I think the only thing I manifested was I want to make, 5 figures, this month, and and next thing you know, here was this email. And
Wow.
So the show started in Arizona. We did 3 weeks in Salt Lake City. I had never been to Salt Lake City. So not only that, I'm getting to travel to places that I haven't been. And, I consider myself a well-traveled person. So we did Salt Lake City. We spent a month in New Orleans, super fun. And the show, my contract was supposed to end after the New Orleans run, and the girl that I was filling in for wanted 3 more weeks. So that means I got to come home to Chicago. The next stop was Chicago. So my last show had 100 of my students and families in the audience.
That's
so
cool.
I was just like, this puppet master, it was just something that you can't make this stuff up. It was a dream come true yet again.
Oh, I love that. I love that for you. I love that it happened organically, but I also love that the girls that were in your studio got to watch all of that happen.
Because it's one thing to talk about it and to tell them the stories, but it's another thing for them to see their instructor on stage.
Right.
And
that is
experience
incredible.
that whole thing. Yeah, I could not have manufactured that any better. It was really awesome.
That's awesome. That is cool. Well, I mean, you make it sound like so much fun going on tour, but it's got to be really physically demanding.
Oh, yeah. It was. I was like, the funny thing is, and I'm just turning my Wi-Fi off because I don't want any, the network, I don't want it to interfere. But a week before I left, I was auditioning students to be in the junior ensemble. And I was, telling them that if you're going for something that it doesn't give you a weird feeling in your stomach, i.e. knots, butterfly, I don't want to call them butterflies, but nausea a little bit, then whatever it is not big enough. And here I am in the hotel, opening night. And I'm like, what am I doing? Is this really happening? My stomach was a mess. And so I was able to laugh about that. I'm like, well, you did tell your students that if your stomach didn't feel funny, the dream wasn't big enough. And here you are. So it happened.
Cool.
It was glorious. And no major injuries happened. I made it out unscathed.
Yay!
Because dance is very grueling. And that show in particular is one of the toughest shows on Broadway.
Yeah. Oh, I can't even imagine. So like, tell me about what your rehearsals were like. Did you have a couple hours that you had to practice every day? What does that involve?
Well, when I first got back, they gave me 1 week to relearn. I know, 1 week
Oh my gosh.
to relearn everything. And it's so interesting the way that muscle memory works. Like it started
Yeah.
to come back. And I was like, things that, just organically starting to come back. I mean, granted, they had made some changes, so I had to learn new choreography. I'm like, okay, did anyone get the memo that I'm 46? Like, they're literally like 25-year-olds that I'm dancing with. And not only that, but I was in my original costumes. That
Oh, that's amazing.
that was like, the first day, it's like the fitting because you have to, get refitted. And so I'm like, oh, wow, whose costumes are these? And they were like, they're yours. And I was like, I FaceTime my mom right away. I'm like, Mom, original costumes. Because I felt like that just deserved its own parade.
Absolutely.
So literally, a week of rehearsal. And then once you know the show, you just show up at, half hour. For me, I like a full 2 hours because I like to get in makeup and take my time in the dressing room. But it's really, an independent game. They trust you to be a professional, know what you're supposed to know, and whatever happens on stage, make wise choices.
Yeah. Wow. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
that's cool. But I'm
People
sure,
that
like
are
you
brand
said,
new, people that are brand new in the show, they get, I think, maybe a month, 6 weeks, that kind of thing. But for a reboot, a seasoned vet, they're like, yeah, 1 week. I was like, you guys.
well, it sounds like you pulled it off. So congratulations. That's
Woo.
awesome.
It was
Yeah.
man, it was fun though. It was really fun. Just getting to connect and meet new dancers and be, they're like, this is legendary. We've heard about you and all this kind of stuff. Like, because the Vegas cast was pretty iconic. So it was just a beautiful, just to reignite my own career and to be connected to like a whole new crop of dancers. It was wonderful because I did an annual conference for Black Girls Dance, and I was able to have the dancers and the director come to my studio and do like a workshop. And
Oh,
it was just,
wow.
I mean, the parents were blown away.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Wow. What an experience to give them.
it
That's
was awesome.
great. Uh, well,
Yeah.
let's talk about your studio for a minute, because I know you said that it was a lifelong dream for you to
Hmm.
open that. It had to be kind of scary to open the doors.
In the
Were you
pandemic,
already
I was
teaching
like,
classes?
I
Yeah.
am. I teach. Right, right. It was, one of those pushes that you get like, it's now. Like that was
Yeah.
it. Because it started as just, I'm going to do these workshops. I'm going to do mentoring and I'm going to do, just help make connections for young artists. And it was going along swimmingly. And in 2020, the studio that I was the artistic director of, which was the studio that I started dancing at. So that was
Nice.
already a full circle moment. But the owner was like, I think it's time for me to tap out. I'm moving to Arizona. I want to be warm. And the studio shut down completely. So I was like, well, I know those kids still need something to do. And with everything that's going on, this can be my way to just provide a safe place for them to come dance. So when we started, we were still in masks, we were wiping down the bars. And, it kind of started with 40 kids in a church basement. And it just kept growing and people became more comfortable, going back out and like letting their kids interact with other people. And that within a year, I was back in the Mayfair building and I had like 80 kids and now we're up to like 160. So this is just our
Nice.
third year. Yeah. And it's just been
Wow.
incredible. I mean, I think growing up, you always have this dream like, oh, when I'm an adult, I'll have my own studio. And for it to happen this organic way and to just have so much support. I mean, girls that I went to, women that I should say that I went to high school with, I'm teaching their kids. So
Yeah.
it's just so many connections and it feels really just like a special community that I'm curated, so to speak. So it's really beyond what I imagined.
I love that. I love that. I love that you said that just unfolded organically. That's very
Really
cool.
and
Sounds like your
truly.
whole life has kind of been like that.
It has. And that was, one of the things that I loved about being in the women's group that we met in. because it seemed like everyone shared a similar vibration of allowing. And I think a lot of women either just aren't hip to it yet, or, you know, they do it without thinking about it, or they're totally like in the dark about it. And it's like, just open the curtains. This beautiful life is waiting here, just waiting for you to line up energetically with it. And then sky's the limit.
Yes, 100%. I believe that. Yes. And you have to be ready to receive. You have to be open to receiving all kinds of messages, gifts, opportunities.
Everything.
It's all there.
Yes.
It's your mind, usually. That's what's kind of holding you back.
Tell me about it. And, you know, I've had that struggle, of course, in this entrepreneur journey, because my whole life I was a dancer.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, here I am, people are trusting me with payroll. I'm like, wait a second, like, are you sure? Like, but, you know, I've learned how to ask for help. That was a big one for me too, because I thought that I had to do everything by myself. I thought that entrepreneurs didn't pay themselves. I'm like, where did I get this from? You know, it's like just myths, things that I made up. But no, having the awareness to ask for help has been transformational.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge, because what you do best is what you need to be focusing on.
Correct.
And let everyone else do their tasks.
Do their task. What I love doing is creating shows, producing, you know, taking an idea and seeing that thing all the way through. I'm really good at that. And now I'm in a position that I've just developed such a great team. They keep me inspired, and I'm like, they never tell me no. I'm like, so I imagine this piano floating in, and they're like, okay. I'm like, you guys, like, really? They're like, well, maybe we can't float in, but we can rise up. I'm like, okay. Like, you know, they encourage my crazy. So
I like that.
It works out beautifully.
That's great. That's great. And you strike me as the type of person that you're not just teaching the girls dance, that it's so much more than that.
So much more. I mean, the service is the product rather is confidence. And I just use dance as the vessel, because these girls, what they're up against in this social media, I do not envy this generation at all. I'm so glad that we grew up in a time where, you know, there weren't this many distractions. I'll leave it at that.
Right.
But the way that they compare themselves and it's just a subconscious programming of scroll, compare. And we're just like, like, yes, you're going to do that, but please know that you are one of a kind, magical, beautiful creature. You don't have to do anything to your body. It's perfect the way it is. And through teaching them these skills and watching them go from, you know, the first time they see something, they're like, oh, I can't do that, to like, you know, a couple of weeks later, look at you doing it. When you repeat those steps, it builds authentic confidence. And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like confidence is one of the best gifts that you can give anyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. First, I have to stop and ask about Dancing with Beyonce.
I know that.
Tell me that story.
I know. So there I was again, like in Vegas, minding my beautiful Black business. And a friend of mine called. This was like 2012, and it was the Billboard Awards. So the song at that time was Run the World, you know, who run the world, girls. Yep. And so she needed like, you know, a massive amount of girls to fill up the stage and dance. And so I wasn't like in the core group, but I was still there. She was there. Like, I got the outfit. Like, it was a 3-day experience, I'd say. And, you know, I'll be quite transparent. Before this experience, I wasn't really a huge Beyonce fan.
Okay.
That's okay. We're in rehearsal, and I just see this person like over on the side, and they're like doing the same thing for hours. I'm like, who is that? Like, I thought it was, you know, she had blonde hair. I'm thinking it's a white girl. Hours later, turns around, it's her. No makeup, flushed cheeks, like sweat. I was like, oh, she actually does put in the work. And what she was trying to go over was like this moment that had to be perfectly synchronized with what was going on like projection screen behind her. So the timing was just, it had to be like spot on. And she must have done that thing for hours. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, the work ethic is real. I'm a total fan. And I have been a total fan ever since. So
That's
it was
great.
just, she was warm. She, talked to us and like gave us like hair flipping tips. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm loving all of these stories. It just sounds so amazing, everything that you've done. So then what led you to write the children's book?
So last year we were getting ready for our spring concert, which happens in June. And I was teaching, this was May, because the show was like early June. And my combination 4 girls, they're like 7, 8-year-olds. And their number, what was the theme last year? The theme last year was Black Girls Dance on Broadway, because I used that experience. And we were just going to, pay tribute to like all the Broadway musicals that were our favorites. So a friend of mine, and I'd just taken my mom to see the Tina Turner musical. Phenomenal. And my friend plays Tina's mom in the show. Anyway.
Oh, cool.
So these girls were doing Tina. I had like a boat for them because they came out like the SS Tina, and they were like rolling on the river, right? And they pop out and they start doing all the dance, and their outfit was all like gold and shimmering. But, one day in rehearsal, they're like, well, Miss Erin, what if we get stage fright? And I was like, who told you about stage? Where did you learn that word? Like, you didn't know that last week and you were fine. And so I'm like, you sneaky little parents putting these words into my kids' precious brains that were fine a week ago. And I go, okay, I stop class. I go, everyone sit. If you happen to encounter stage fright, this is what you do. Tip number 1, you get somewhere and you breathe. You inhale for 1, exhale for 1. Inhale for 2, exhale for 2. And you just kind of calm yourself down, go all the way up to 5, start over 1, take a little moment and just breathe. So we call that the breathing game. Tip number 2, visualize everything going better than you could have ever expected. I was like, this is really my favorite one, because if I don't dream about performance before it happens, like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I need to dream about it. Like, I have to see myself doing it, everything going phenomenal. And step number 3, get with a friend and like turn each other, like hype each other up and like, get excited together. And between those 3 things, I was like, I'm pretty sure your stage fright is going to like vanish. And so I got home and I was like, wow, my teacher assistant sent me the video. And I was like, that's why I love you for recording this moment. But then I was like, that could be a children's book. And so I just kind of like typed it out and got on YouTube University, figured out how to self-publish through Amazon. And I titled it Get Out of Here, Stage Fright. Found an illustrator on Fiverr, and that was all she wrote. I'm like, you know what? In this day and age, we really don't have excuses. If there is something that you want to do, if you can't learn it on YouTube, baby, you have to ask somebody, ask social media. People will, I think, help you voluntarily. Like it's not, this taboo thing where people are going to be like, you can't do that. I don't really have friends that are like that. Like if I say, hey, I'm thinking about doing something, they're like, oh, you should talk to this person. I know this person that can help. Like it's really a community of builder uppers and not this kind of like, hateration. Like, well, I don't deal with that. So the book came just out of being a dance teacher. And I'm like, this is going to be a series. Like, I've got the people, and I think in August we did like a book signing at the studio. It was super cute. And the kids love it. They're like, wow, Miss Erin wrote a book, I'm just
But I feel like you could change the title and it could apply to everyone. Those
tips I got in therapy. Like,
that's good for all of us.
It's absolutely. And something else was happening. We were somewhere and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous. And one of the kids was like, sounds like you need to read your book, Miss Erin. I nearly passed out. I was like, thank you very much. I was like, I think you're right. So it does apply to adults as well.
Oh my gosh. Well, tell me about your regimen now. Do you work out besides dancing? And like, what does a typical day look like for you?
So I have my morning routine that includes starting out with my gratitude journal,
Yeah.
my devotional. I have to get my mind right first. And that takes anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. So I do that. I do my gratitude. And I also do morning scripting. So I wrote another book. Well, this one's more like a journal, because I used to have like one journal for gratitude, another journal for manifesting, and another journal for scripting. And so I was like, I look at my bed and I've got all these books everywhere. I'm like, I did this maybe in November last year, wrote a journal with prompts and like a scripture, but it has like the beginning for, to wake up with gratitude, 5 slots, 5 spaces, and then like 5 to 7 lines for manifesting, because I really have used that as a powerful tool. I think everyone should. And then the evening is my scripting time. So it's all in one place. So I do all of that. And then I attach at least 10 minutes of movement to it. So I roll my yoga mat out. I pull up some app, something on YouTube, or just kind of do my own thing. I mean, I'm the certified yoga instructor as well. But sometimes you just want to follow somebody along who's on a beach in Australia in like a white 2-piece. I'm like, girl, anyway. How she's
not bitter.
Like, not bitter at all. Remaining teachable. But I really need that to just ground myself every day. Otherwise, if I'm not right, I could yell at a kid for doing nothing. I just have to make sure that I'm always, coming from a place of love and, pouring that love back into myself, because I find with many, especially women leaders, we just pour into everyone else. And I'm like, I'm not going to pour from an empty cup. My cup has to be full, right? If not overflowing. So, I attend conferences. I just got back from the International Association of Blacks in Dance conference. I strategically go to the opera, go see dance all the time so that I'm keeping my cup full. And so, but no, I definitely have to work out because I'm of a certain age and things just are not as tight as they used to be, but that's okay. I'm embracing it, because I'm like, I'm almost 50, and a lot of people can't say that they fit in their costumes from 11 years ago. So
that's right.
I'm doing something right. But I really believe that movement is the key. Like, you have to move every day.
Yeah. No, I'm 100%.
I see your stuff back there. You're on it too. You have your regimen. Yes. You have to.
Yeah.
And it's self-care.
And you're right. Yes.
It's totally something that we need to do. I'm not a mom officially. I have like 160 kids in the studio, but I look at my super moms and I'm like, how do you guys do it? It's so much. Like, you're responsible for like human lives.
Yeah. So you mentioned a series of books. So have you started the next one, did you say?
I have not started the next one. I think the next thing that I'm working on really is an app for Black Girls Dance, so that there is just a community of people, not just in Chicago, just whoever wants to. A lot of people are still not comfortable working out outside of the gym. I'm not a gym person either. Like, unless I'm teaching a class there, I'm just not a gym person. I'd rather go to the dance studio, do my own thing. And so this platform is going to have something for everybody: dance kids and dance moms.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
So we probably won't launch that until the summer. Yeah.
Okay. So it's already in the works though.
It's in the works.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. I was going to ask about another location. Like, do you see yourself having a chain of schools or just the one?
In my wildest dream, there are Black Girls Dance studios all over the world, in London, and, all over the US for sure. And so, does it look like a franchise? I'm not sure. My entrepreneurial skills have not developed that way just yet. But I think, through relationships is easier. I've done some guest teaching in Bermuda. And, there's a British presence there. So,
yeah.
So it's just a matter of time of, getting that email or getting that phone call where someone is like, hey, I want you to come to my school, or, hey, can you do a master class? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So perhaps.
Well, you've already proven.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, just perhaps, it may look differently than a physical space, but just, global reach through the gift of the internet, I think makes it more accessible to everyone. So yeah, because payroll times, I'm already doing like enough. I'm like, does that mean I have to be at each studio? Like, oh, I don't know. But yeah,
No,
live and learn.
you hire that. You hire that.
Yes. Yes.
And the way that you are talking about your life, it sounds like it's going to happen sooner than what you even imagine, because that's just what happens in your
I
life.
receive
Everything
it, and I
falls into
totally
place.
receive it.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe it. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
I love
Well,
it.
what advice would you give maybe just someone that's wanting to take their dance professional and to the next level?
I would say definitely develop a practice, like a self practice, something that is just yours, something that can, maybe it looks like a morning routine or evening routine, but something where you're carving out time every day to remember your why. Because it's not, one of my instructors literally just flew to New York and auditioned for The Lion King today. And, she sent me a text back and she's like, I didn't make it to the second round. And I was like, that's okay. Come back. I'm going to help you. So you have to have a system of support. So make sure you surround yourself with people that are encouraging you and that have your back, that want to see you win, because it's tough. It's not an easy, oh, just like that, I'm going to be a professional dancer, honey. It is. It's tough, and it's a numbers game. But in the interim, that self-practice keeps you inspired and motivated. And I think now, for everyone that is looking, the jobs aren't the same, Broadway isn't the same, everything looks a little bit different. So stay open to creating your own story. I mean, with the gift of this thing here, you can write your own Broadway show. You can, create your own YouTube series. You can kind of write your own narrative and write your own story. So I say, stay open to everything, make connections, stay in class, keep your body healthy. You are a vessel, like keep your eating habits healthy, and whatever extracurricular habits you have, keep those healthy, and, be mindful about what you're doing to your body, because your body is your instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
but
great. That's great.
Always
advice.
stay encouraged. Always stay encouraged. And, if anyone is looking for a mentor, Black Girls Dance, I have a whole, you don't have to be Black, you don't have to be a girl. If you love to dance, hit me up, because I can help you.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, where can the listeners find you?
On social media, Erin Barnett officially is my Instagram, and for the studio at Black Girls Dance. Those are the best ways. My website, erindbarnett.com. And that's it.
Cool. I will put all of that in the show notes, because I want to make sure that everyone can reach you that wants to reach you.
Yes. Come do some body rolls with me.
I don't know if you could teach me that. I don't
know.
Robin,
of course I can.
Okay.
Robin.
Yes,
okay.
you can.
We're going to get together. I got a private with your name on it.
That is great.
What city are you in?
I'm in Kansas.
Okay. I used to perform at Starlight Theater in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Summer
Very
stock.
cool.
Yes. Yep.
That's great.
Love
oh my
it.
gosh. Well, this has been delightful. I've really enjoyed our conversation, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for just reaching out to me. I was so honored by that. I was like, me? So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, that was incredible. If you couldn't tell, I just thoroughly enjoyed that conversation with her. She was talking about having a morning ritual, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I could just have her as part of my morning ritual and talk to her every morning, that would be wonderful. Here are a few takeaways. 1, when you're in alignment and open to receiving, amazing opportunities will present themselves to you organically. 2, if your dreams and goals don't make you feel a bit uneasy, you're not dreaming big enough. 3, open the curtain. A beautiful life is waiting for you to line up with it energetically, and then the sky is the limit. 4, you don't have to do everything yourself. Learn to ask for help in areas that are not your expertise. This will allow you to shine in what you do well and it will give others a chance to shine in their strengths. 5, you are one of a kind, a beautiful, magical creature. Playing the comparison game will never get you ahead. We are all amazing just the way that we are, and lifting each other up is a win for everyone. 6, Erin's children's book can be applied to all age levels and all situations, really, with her 3 steps. 1, breathe. Slow down and take a moment for a few deep breaths. 2, see yourself succeeding in a magnificent way. 3, get with a friend that will pump you up. 7, keep your cup full so you can always serve from a place of love. 8, surround yourself with people that love you, that have your back, and want to see you succeed. Ah, that's awesome. So watch for Erin's app because, number 1, I feel like you'll fall in love with her because of her energy. 2, you might find a new way to work out. And 3, you might just get to a point where you can fit into your clothes from 11 years ago. Check it all out in the show notes. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to follow Spandex and Wine so you don't miss an episode. To do this, just go to the podcast and click subscribe or follow wherever you are listening. Look for the plus sign or follow button. This is one of the best things that you can do for the podcast. If you'd also be willing to give a 5-star review, that would be amazing and much appreciated. Lastly, please share an episode with a friend or 5 to keep the love going, and join the Spandex and Wine community in our private Facebook group by searching Spandex and Wine. Feel free to reach out to me at any time by emailing info@spandexandwine.com or text me at 913-392-2877. I appreciate you. Thank you.